You've survived another week. Thank you for finding, subscribing, and sharing the Black Man with a Gun Show, the Responsible Gun Owners Podcast. And I'm your host, Ken Blanchard. This week, my friend and brother from another mother, Michael J. Woodland, suggested we try something different, so we do, and we have an interesting conversation about shotguns. Let me know what you think about our dialogue. And then we're going to listen into a conversation he has with Buell Collins from Fiocchi USA Ammunition.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
MarylandShallIssue.org. It's an all-volunteer, nonpartisan organization dedicated to the preservation and advancement of gun owners' rights in Maryland. It seeks to educate the community about the right of self-protection, the safe handling of firearms, and the responsibility that goes with carrying a firearm in public. MarylandShallIssue.org. This is the group, your group, the grassroots group in the state of Maryland. Join us, no matter where you are. MarylandShallIssue.org. Mike, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Another great week, another week of training. Just glad to get back from the training, dealing with that heat, and just more curious to hear about your adventures.
Hey, this week, I want to talk about shotguns. And shotguns is a bone of contention for some people. Some people love them. But a lot of people, and I'm just learning this, that's why I decided to make the show this, is they don't see what the big hoo-ha is about shotguns at all. And I want to get your take on that as we talk about shotguns this week. The 5 things you should know about shotguns is probably going to be more than 5 things after we get through talking with each other. Folks can just pick that up. So if you're ready, man, I'm ready to hit it.
Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and say it like I got a love-hate relationship when it comes with shotguns.
Okay.
And one of the main reasons is if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to mess around and get somebody hurt. And
okay. Tell me how that popped up in your head. Why you say it like that?
Okay. So like I was telling you beforehand, the situation was we was over in Iraq. We ended up getting shotguns to start doing door breaches. And once we got over there, we got a quick class from the Special Operations Unit on what to do, what to order, everything like that. But you know how it is anytime you're dealing with logistics. Everybody looks for the cheaper element to make the mission successful. So, of course, you know, a couple of raids we went on, we realized like, okay, we're dealing with steel doors. So, you know, the old method we was doing was tying up the cord from the Humvee, backing up, pulling the door off the hinges. So somebody decided, okay, we're going to start doing it with shotguns. All right. So, of course, when we're practicing, we're doing it with slugs. Somebody put the order in for slugs, but it came back birdshot. You know, so we actually went on a mission and that took place and a couple people got pepper sprayed with the birdshot and it wasn't a pretty sight.
Okay, so let's back it on up. For those who have never done a breach of a door, what were you doing in the first place? What was the whole purpose of you guys taking people's doors off the hinges?
It was like the kicking in the door, rushing in to go in, you know, the element of surprise.
To get the bad guys.
Correct.
And it decided to use shotguns and they gave you guys the wrong ammunition.
Correct. Yeah.
But you do 3-gun too, though, don't you?
Yeah, I did 3-gun like 2 times in total.
Mm-hmm.
But the only reason I'm not partial to doing it all the time is because it's very expensive, you know.
Right.
You know, like I'm not sponsored. So, yeah, it's easy to get, you know, ammunition for your AR-15, ammunition for your handgun, ammunition for your shotgun. But when you incorporate it all together, you know, plus the equipment, the rigs, and that stuff gets expensive. And if you're doing it once a month or at least 2 times a month, it could take a toll on your wallet.
Yeah, I got you. All right, let's do a little history about this shotgun. I mean, whenever you first start and go way back when you, before, well, maybe not you because you came out right into the military, but a lot of folks, their first um, entry weapon, firearm into gun community is a shotgun. Folks always tell them, if you got a house, you got to get a shotgun. And they don't go much deeper than that. And then you end up buying this thing, which you have no idea about, but everybody tells you you need one. And then it sits in the corner. You don't practice with it because a 12 gauge is not as fun to shoot as a 22. And a lot of ranges not going to let you shoot slugs through in it anyway. So it's a difficult thing. You agree with that?
Yes and no again. Shotgun was my first firearm I shot.
As a kid?
As a kid. I was
cool.
13, 14 years old. My dad took me out and shot my uncle's shotgun. And it was an overwhelming experience because
he was 13.
I didn't know what to expect from the recoil. All I knew was what I saw in the movies. So it was overcoming of me. But the whole myth about, get a shotgun from home defense, and I never believed that. Just like when people say if you rack the charger, like racking the shotgun, it's going to scare the bad guy away.
You don't go for that.
Yeah, I don't believe all that, But I do believe whatever you have will work in any instance. So if you got a handgun, it'll protect your house. If you got an AR, it'll protect your house. Shotgun, yeah, it'll protect your house. But that whole myth of all you got to do is point and shoot, you don't have to aim. All that depends on the type of ammo you have, So you got it, like you said, you got to get out there. You got to practice with it. You got to do your research. Because if you don't, you're going to be in a situation whereas you're believing the myth and now your life is on the line because you didn't know.
Right. So somebody said, hey, man, you got a house. So they, of course, they make sure that this is my housewarming gift. And it's a Remington Wingmaster. Pretty close to the 870P shotgun that Remington makes. And it's a super long barrel. I mean, it's made for bird trap shooting. So 28-inch barrel, not something that I like walking around the house with, but I got it. And that racking, I agree with you. That's just some hokey stuff that people used to sell guns. The original firearm, though, has had a bunch of names over time. It's been called the scatter gun, the blunderbuss, the fowling piece, the trench gun, and now we talk about the shotgun. Since the 1600s, this thing has been around. And then it was the blunderbuss. It was a short musket. And the British used it to hunt large birds with what we call today bird shot. And back in 1776, the term shotgun was first used in Kentucky to differentiate between a smoothbore shotgun and a rifled musket. During the Civil War, cavalry units favored the shotgun for moving targets at close range. And right after the Civil War and during the Indian Wars, Americans began to move west, and that's when the shotgun had its heyday. One of the big advancements for this thing was when it had the double barrel in 1875, which was a breech-loaded side-by-side. They kind of call it a coach gun, and it's also been called a riding shotgun. You watch the Westerns and especially the Wells Fargo guys are sitting up there and they got this short double-barreled shotgun with side-by-side. That's what we're talking about. And at the time, it was the biggest thing out there. Doc Holliday even had a side-by-side double-barrel scatter gun that he used actually to shoot somebody with. 1887 to 1990, the shotgun kind of got a little bit better as John Moses Browning designed the first lever action, pump action, and auto loading shotguns. And as with many of the weapons that Browning designed, the shotguns of today are still the same basic design he invented more than 100 years ago. The difference now is the sights and the optics have moved forward, but the simple design of that pump action I just showed you, that you just heard, still the same. During World War I, the trench gun was used for close quarter fighting, and it was really short. Now today, there's a whole bunch of guns that kind of look like the trench gun, and shotguns are making a comeback, but I don't think nobody's buying them. I'm not quite sure. They're making some that look like AKs, and they're making a whole bunch of stuff that's tactical, and it's kind of interesting too. If you go looking shopping for shotguns, you'll find a whole bunch of stuff that there wasn't even out there like 4 or 5 years ago. The shorter barrel lengths on these shotguns make them even worse to hold and to shoot. But they're using them to sell for the house. During the Korean War, it was a guard weapon of choice because of its effectiveness at close range. SEAL teams used a modified duckbill shotgun for walking as a lookout in the jungles of Vietnam. Back then, the muzzle of the barrel had a side cut type of choke system that would produce a horizontal pattern. And it was the 870 12 gauge back in the day. This thing still is pretty much the same. I remember the first competition I would do was a SWAT competition, and somebody gave me a Benelli M4 to replace the 870P that I was used to. And they were like, yeah, man, this is a semi-automatic shotgun, and it's going to be the bomb, and you can hold 10 rounds in this thing. And because I wasn't familiar with it, when the stress hit, man, my fingers got all fat, and I couldn't even find the buttons to let that thing slide forward. And I ended up having to shoot my 50-yard shot with my sidearm. So I lost some points on that thing. And I ended up saying, give my 870P back. The shotgun, man, has been around forever and a day. And it has its purpose, but it is not, like you said, a magical thing. That myth is just too big. That smooth bore, those pellets come out of there not rifled like our rifles are used to. So the distance that they hit, actually, they can go a long ways if they don't hit anything. But the power behind each of those little pellets is nowhere near as precise as a rifle shot. For hitting doors and birds and stuff under 25 yards, it's on. And with a slug, you can knock out something at 50 yards pretty good, because that's a 50 caliber projectile you got coming out of the shotgun. But it takes training, and you have to expect the recoil from that thing. And you don't have to get a 12 gauge. You can do a 20 or 410. The shot itself matters. The shells matter. It's just like any other firearm, for those who don't know. And one of the things that made me think about when I was looking up this stuff to talk about it this week was shooting things that move. Nobody trains that as much as they used to. I know you shoot the USPCA, right? USPSA.
Correct.
And you run to a fixed target and then you fire. But except for maybe some of the ones that pop up or spin, there's not many of them that run parallel to you, or you have to run with to shoot, which if you're hunting and you got a long gun, that's one of the things you definitely got to do.
Well, I do believe that a lot of courses that teach you how to shoot, they do focus on shooting moving items.
Yeah.
Either you're moving or the target's moving, or both. But doing it with a shotgun, like I shot clay before, and I would say out of 150 clays that was thrown up, I maybe hit one.
Oh my goodness!
My luck. I'm horrible at it. Yeah. So
it's a skill. It's another learned thing.
It's a skill, but once again, it's one of those type things you have to do it in order to understand it and perfect it.
Yeah. One of the disadvantages of a shotgun, other than the recoil, the lack of training most folks have, is that shot is limited to the range. It doesn't. It's not as accurate. It in small pattern is devastating, but as that thing travels, it kind of spreads, and that's when you lose a lot of muzzle energy. Again, nobody talks about shotguns. You don't have no love for shotguns usually. You think it's just because of the recoil, or because of how it looks, or because people didn't teach it like your parents showed you when you got started?
Right. I think it's everything. not so much the looks, but the length. Because like the one you got, that joke is long.
That joke is long, Doc.
Yeah, you got to go around a corner, man. You got to
Right,
turn
right,
2 blocks
right.
before you get there. But like I have one that's real long. It was left, to me when my uncle passed away.
Yeah.
But then I have one also called the Tactical, so it's a little bit shorter. I'm just amazed that the mechanics of it was invented back in like early 17, late 18s.
Yeah.
And then you turn around, it's the same thing being used today.
In that while. But today we got stuff like that. You got AK-47, AK shotgun style and 12 gauge semi-auto. You have Thunder Ranch even has a 12 gauge over and under. There's a tactical. Mossberg has a couple of different tactical ones. They got like a 500 special purpose pump action shotgun that looks as scary and modern as any AR. So they're trying to make them more. They're shorter, not as long as that thing. That thing like a buffalo rifle, but it's
well, outside of doing anything illegal, because back in the day, what people used to say, "Hey, saw it off."
Yeah. Which instantly makes it a short barreled shotgun, which is a NFA item, right? You got to be covered for that, right?
Yeah. So, what you could do if you're into a shotgun and you want to get something shorter, one I was just looking at last week was the Kel-Tec KSG.
That's a different shotgun altogether.
It's different, but it's a bullpup, pretty much. That's what it is. And it holds more rounds, and it got different variations. So you can get it with the longer barrel, or you can get it the short style. And I want to say it was going for like $800, But
what's the shoe like?
I never
shot a Kel-Tec.
Yeah, I never shot one myself. It was just me and my uncle. We was talking about shotguns, and I started doing the research and looking into it more. And like all the shotguns we have, like you go to the store, you can buy Mossberg, the Remingtons.
Yep.
Hold like 8 rounds and get the tube extender. But that Kel-Tec, it has 2 tubes in it. And if you get the mini slugs, I know the one I was talking about getting with the longer barrel, they said it can hold up to 25 mini slugs. Yeah. So the way I'm calculating it, I'm guessing it holds 6 regular slugs that are in the length of the mini slug. But I never loaded one or seen anybody load it to actually say, but I do know it will hold more than your conventional shotgun. So that's something I want to look into getting.
Yeah, actually would like to test fire a couple of Kel-Tecs just to see. I know they're big out of Florida somewhere, and they're unique. I like people who try to do stuff out of the box, which is like everything that you do. So find somebody with a Kel-Tec, man, and give you, so you can do a test on that thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm searching right now. I'm calling all my buddies and asking if they know somebody who can let me hold on to it for about a week or two. But yeah, like I said, that Kel-Tec KSG and also that sub 2000. It's like their like 9mm rifle, I guess you can call it.
I think Hank Strange might have the hookup on that Kel-Tec. I don't know.
Yeah, he might. I haven't talked to him in a minute because he was doing some trip around the country. I know he's back now, but I haven't talked to him.
All right, good stuff.
Yeah, but outside of that, like I said, I am one of those people that are on the fence when it comes to the shotgun. If something was to go down in my house, the order I would use the shotgun would be number 3, because I'll probably go AR first, handgun, then shotgun.
And you would use AR like a lot of folks because you're a vet, and that's like your go-to gun. You had it forever.
Yeah, I could say that, but honestly speaking, if something really was to happen and distance played a factor into it, that would be the main reason why I would go with the AR.
Oh, but that's talking about your house, though.
Oh yeah, but overall, like, I'm pretty sure if you shoot somebody over 25 feet, that's probably premeditated murder in some places.
Right, right.
Yeah, and but with a handgun, because a handgun is only designed to be like what 7 to 10 feet. That's what it's really designed for, the close range proximity of an encounter. But
same with the shotgun legally. So if you shot somebody, that's an interesting question. If you had to shoot somebody, self-defense, and you had a choice between a rifle and a shotgun, what would the courts do to you if you shot them with a rifle versus with a shotgun?
Well, my mind would say actually defense is defense regardless of what you use. It's just the manner of how you use it. Because for one, we already know you can't shoot nobody in the back as they're running away from you because the threat ain't there. But if they're posing that threat and you actually feel danger, like your life is in danger, and you actually use it, I'm thinking of a slug now. If you use a shotgun, a slug will put a hole in you. So
50 caliber hole.
Yeah, and I honestly don't think anything will be said in regards to it, long as you do it in a manner of self-defense.
Versus the scary black rifle. If you shot them with that, they might.
Well, honestly, man, you can shoot somebody with an AR-15, and you got to put a couple.
That's exactly what I'm saying. They'll get you for why you had to shoot them multiple times with the scary black rifle versus the shotgun.
Yeah, because the AR-15, you can shoot somebody 4 times, and it might be a slow death for them, but it ain't gonna be anything instant like with a slug from a shotgun.
Or that blast from the same birdshot that tore that dude up at the metal door.
Yep.
The wound channel is gonna be nasty.
Yeah. Yep. So, but even with the handgun, 9mm, it ain't like one of those you shoot them twice and that's it. You might have to put like 4 rounds in them because it's a smaller caliber and it bounces around in you.
Yeah, only good guys stop on one shot.
Yeah. But it's one of those type things, man. It's interesting questions because I've always said that. Like, I remember I was a kid and there was a guy in high school and he was, doing drugs, selling drugs and everything. And he ended up killing 3 people. But he ended up killing them in self-defense with a handgun, and it was a revolver, So he ended up killing the 3 people. They didn't get him on the self-defense portion because they was actually saying like, okay, he did everything legally for the self-defense, but the gun was the issue. So that's what they got him for. And I can't remember how long he actually went to jail for, but he didn't serve time for the killings of those 3 guys that came at him. But, it was like the gun was illegally owned or in his possession.
Okay. Like yeah. It's always something like that.
Yeah. I can't remember the story exactly. But I do remember that incident taking place, so now, I don't know if this law is still in effect in Virginia, because you got to remember I left right when I graduated high school, which was if you shoot somebody above the waist, I think they call that attempted murder. And if you shoot them below the waist, it's something else where it's like it's a lesser crime.
Oh, I never heard that before.
Yeah, I can't remember, but because my brother was telling me about it, and I was like, really, man? That don't really make sense to me.
No.
But I was like, ain't no telling. But I never really read it into the laws, like to see what they would say and what they would do about stuff like that. But then again, I never know. Go ahead.
If you're out teaching and somebody says, "Can you qualify me on a shotgun?" Do you do that?
I'll teach you how to shoot a shotgun, but there's no such thing, in my personal opinion, about qualifying somebody with a shotgun. Because, like right now, the whole qualification for getting your CWP in South Carolina is you got to sit in a 6-hour class and then go to the range and show proficiency on shooting, a target with so many rounds in the target. So that's a qualifiable test, But how many people walk around with an AR-15 and a shotgun? So how can you really qualify somebody on that? Yeah, it's just a matter of just teaching you how to get proficient with it so you feel more comfortable in using it.
Certifying somebody for NRA certificate or whatever they call it. I think that's what I was talking about.
Oh yeah. I never took that NRA shotgun. I did the NRA rifle and the NRA handgun, but I never did the shotgun one.
Our next thing is your interview with a guy from Fiocchi, and you was pretty psyched about that thing. You said that was your favorite guy at the NRA thing.
Yeah, Buell is he's one of the top people that work at Fiocchi. So I'm pretty sure if you call Fiocchi and ask a question, he'll probably be one of the people that answer the phone that will, point you in the right direction as far as what products to get and what they're intended use for. Yeah. So like every time I ran into him, like we walked past the booth, we always had interesting conversation. He's a very funny guy, very helpful as well. Like he points you in the right direction. If you got questions about, hey, I'm looking for this, or who should I talk to about this? He's like one of those guys that knows everybody that was at an NRA convention. And like I said, it was never a dull moment when we linked up and we had conversation.
I could tell that. And that conversation is coming up next after this commercial break.
The Minister of Defense, the pastor of paladins, patriots, and pistoleros will be right back after these commercials.
Hi, I'm Mark Craighead, founder of Crossbreed Holsters. I designed our top-selling holster, the Super Tuck Deluxe, to solve the problems of being poked, pinched, and gouged while carrying concealed. The Super Tuck Deluxe is the most comfortable, most concealable holster on the market today. We offer a 2-week free trial and a lifetime warranty.
Visit us at crossbreedholsters.com. Don't forget crossbreedholsters.com.
A few years ago, a friend of mine started this thing called the United States Concealed Carry Association. It's an education, training, and self-defense insurance company now. It's for responsible gun owners. You can get complete peace of mind when you join USCCA today. If you carry a gun for self-defense, you need this. It's a whole package: education, training, and self-defense insurance. Call my friend. The number is 1-877-488-8353. And if you missed that, go to the link at blackmailthegun.com for USCCA.
I am Michael Woodland, and today we're going to have a discussion with Buell Collins of Fiocchi Ammunition. How's it going, Buell?
Doing well, sir. Doing well. Thanks for having me.
If they haven't met you, you are probably my favorite person I got to talk to at SHOT Show.
Oh, man. I appreciate that.
Can you tell us more about yourself and how you came to work at Fiocchi?
I've always been into guns. I guess it was like something I was into as a kid that I just couldn't explain, like my draw to it. I've always been into firearms and especially military history and things like that. And when I was probably about 17 years old, I actually met Mr. Fiocchi, and he became a family friend. And then eventually, as the company grew and grew, he offered me a job, and that was about 3 years ago, just a little bit over 3 years ago, actually. And it's been great, man. I love it. It's a nice, small family environment to work in, and we're all pretty tight knit, and it's great. And obviously, it's a dream of mine to work in the firearms industry. So couldn't ask for a better gig.
Oh man, I know you met some interesting people like across the board in the industry.
Yeah, there's quite a few characters out there, man, and that's actually one thing that I've learned from the time that I started working here is just the quality of people you meet in the firearms industry is, to me, it's unparalleled in any other industry I've ever worked in. I often tell people that if you want to have a good influence on your children, take them to SHOT Show and introduce them to a bunch of those people, because it's always yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, all that good stuff, polite, generous with their time and energy. Just really high quality, high caliber people is what I've found through my time in the industry.
Oh, yeah. About my 20th time coming over to the booth, you was with the man, James Yeager himself. How did y'all actually ended up linking up with each other?
So how I found James, and you know, I'm lucky now that me and Yeager have developed a relationship, and I can call him my friend. But when I first discovered him, I actually was using YouTube to watch Joe Rogan podcast, and for all intents and purposes, like YouTube was just a vehicle for me to watch Joe Rogan, right? And somehow a gun video got thrown into my feed, and it came up, and I was like, "Holy crap! You can watch gun videos on YouTube? This is awesome!" And one of the videos was actually someone talking crap about Yeager. And I was like, well, this guy seems kind of like a nerd. Who's this guy he's talking crap about? I want to go check him out. So I went and I looked up James Yeager, watched his videos, and then I signed up for a class. And when I signed up for a class, I signed up through my Fiocchi email. And he reached out to me. He's like, "You're coming to train?" I'm like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "Man, I've loved your products for years. That's awesome." I'm like, "Well, I'm a fan of yours too." So when I got there, he basically opened his whole facility to me and helped me out with anything I needed. Been very generous to me, and ever since then we've just kind of been, you know, building a friendship and a relationship that's mutually beneficial, I think.
Yeah. I like talking to James also. I'm gonna go see him in a couple weeks as well.
You gonna go take a class?
And, yeah, I'm gonna take a class with him. But you know me, I like to sit down and just talk to people.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I'm gonna talk to Zero for about a couple hours.
Oh, he's good for that, man. He has a lot of great stories. We took a class at Thunder Ranch together in February, and you know, obviously training with Clint Smith was a life goal of mine. But just sitting there with Yeager and Clint and Heidi after the class, man, and the stories that were passing around, and just listening to all that wealth of knowledge was incredible. I was truly humbled.
Oh yeah. Are you an actual shooter, or do you just do it just because, like competition, or just a weekend shooter?
So my shooting generally bases around tactical shooting and drilling on mindset, tactics, and skill. I've shot a couple of IDPA matches, and I'm probably going to shoot a 3-gun match in the near future. I need to get better versed at the competition side of stuff, just for my job, just so I speak the language better and have a better understanding of what the competitors and what our sponsored shooters go through and what they need. But my favorite thing to do is to go out and take training classes. If I can spend my vacation money on going and taking a class, that's what I'll spend it on. You know, I'd rather do that than go to the Bahamas or to Disneyland or something like that. I'd rather go take a class. And particularly, my favorite thing to do is take force on force.
Yeah, so that's one thing I like to do also is take the training courses, because like all my friends always, "Hey, I want to go to the Bahamas or Europe." I'm more like, "Man, I want to go hang out with Travis Haley, Chris Costa, you know, Clint, you know, people like that, just to, you know, get better in the art of shooting."
My wife keeps threatening me with a Haley class for my birthday, so I've always geeked out on Travis, so it'd be awesome to finally train with him.
Oh yeah, I never trained with him yet. I trained with Chris Costa, and that was pretty funny. We joked pretty much like the whole class, but he kept getting me, and I was like off kilter because, you know, normally my comebacks are really fast, but he was just getting me. I was like, "Yo, man, this ain't normal for me right now." But I had a long week.
Quick, man. He's quick-witted. He's hilarious too.
Oh yeah, real funny cat, So, what's your favorite platform to shoot?
You know, it's a hard question to answer, because growing up I was a poor kid, and all I could afford to shoot was a AK. Like I got my first AK when I was fairly young from my dad, and I could, you know, collect cans, sell eggs, do all this stuff around my little town that I grew up in and make money. I could actually afford to shoot an AK. So I grew up shooting that forever. But over the last couple of years, I've been shooting so much more AR that it's a toss up, man. I don't know. I can't pick. I'd hate to live on the difference. You know what I mean? But my favorite gun is the one I carry every day. It's my Glock 19, just because it's my constant companion, and I've got the most time with it, and I trust my life to it every day. So that's actually the one I'm most fond of, if you will.
Oh yeah, what makes Fiocchi stand apart from other ammo companies, in your personal opinion?
The biggest thing for me on a personal level is they pay all my bills. But from a consumer,
good point.
From a consumer standpoint, and this is in all honesty, I was joking there, but in all honesty, we're the oldest ammunition manufacturer in the world. We actually started our company in 1876 in Italy. We brought a production facility to the United States in 1983. We've been producing ammunition here since 1984, and we put over 150 Americans to work every day, which is something we're very proud of. The thing that really sets us apart from a user level is our quality control. We have 100% visual inspection on all of our products, so anything that goes out the door with our name on it has to meet a very high standard. My boss is actually Mr. Fiocchi, so 9 steps away from my desk is his desk, and he comes to work every day. He answers the phone every day, and if there's a subpar product, he's going to know about it, and he doesn't accept that. He says if it has my name on the box, it better be good. And all due respect to all other ammunition companies, but there's not too many of them that you can call and the guy whose name's on the box will answer. Frankly,
wow, yeah, that's pretty impressive right there.
And we, the dirty secret of the ammo business is we can all source pretty much the same components. We manufacture our own brass and that stuff and a lot of our own projectiles, but we work with companies like Sierra and Hornady and Barnes and get projectiles. But what really sets quality ammunition manufacturers apart is the loading process and the quality control. A second part of that is a lot of the machines we use to load are designed and manufactured by us as well. So we control quality control from, basically from the dirt and bringing all the raw materials up through the manufacturing and loading process until it's in the box and out the door. And it's been a very good recipe for us for 142 years now.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, if it ain't broke, why fix it?
Yeah, right.
Now, do y'all give tours on your facility?
We used to give tours to the public, but then we had a couple of ISIS threats or terrorist threats. One of them was definitely ISIS, and one of them was some other group. But they stopped really, having the facility open to the public, unfortunately. But we do, tours with like our sponsored shooters and influencers and things like that to just get product knowledge out there for the people representing our company. I wish we could just say, hey, come down and meet me at the factory and I'd love to show you around. But with the climate nowadays, we're just a little bit more sensitive to it. And the reality is that even though we are generally maybe number 5 or 6 production wise on the U.S. ammunition market, we're still a small family company. We don't have a ton of employees and resources to maybe manage that whole program like you would expect from like a federal, if you will.
When I was in the military, I remember we was on the range this one day, and I'm not going to say the guy's name, but he came in and put 7 boxes of Fiocchi ammo on the table. And he just kept saying, hey, I want to try out this ammo because I got this new gun. So one of his buddies recommended it. So I'm just sitting there looking. So what I ended up starting to do, I started switching out my ammo with his ammo. Started shooting it. I was like, man, this stuff shoots, but if he would have paid attention, because, like all the ammo was real shiny coming out the box, and all the ammo that I had was kind of like dull and had like little rust spots on it and everything. I don't think he really paid any attention to it. But I was like,
He's still running around cursing us. Man, that stuff. Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. So go ahead and tell me what's your favorite Fiocchi product?
Well, I think the best bang for your buck product that we make is our products, because it's 223A, and that's our 55 grain full metal jacket boat tail, 223 round. I wouldn't call it match grade because we don't advertise it as that, but it's pretty close, and you can get it for a really, really competitive price. The load I shoot the most is our 9 APB, which is our 124 grain 9mm, NATO spec 9, and then I carry our 124 grain XTP load in my gun every day. So those are probably like my 3 most used rounds. But if you're into like 3-gun, we have a slug that's how do they say? Oh, it's got a varnish. Sorry. It's got a varnish on it, and it's a clear hole, and the varnish on the slug is red and the wad is blue. So it looks really cool, but it was actually developed with Jerry Miculek, and it's great for follow-up shots. It prevents leading and smoke for follow-up shots. So it's a really good round, and it's kind of a cool, neat, unique thing that we do. And then obviously you've done 3-gun. If you look down with that clear hole and that red and blue, with the wad being blue and the slug being red, you can easily identify it on your belt. So any of those competition shooters out there that are looking for a high quality slug to run through their matches, we have it's called 3GJM, and that's a whole line of products developed with Jerry Miculek.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome right there. Now, do you sponsor Jerry and the whole family, or just Jerry?
We sponsor Jerry and Lena for shotgun shells, and then we sponsor Kay for everything.
Nice. Nice. Now, have you ever went out there and saw them shoot like in the competition?
Oh yeah. And one of the coolest memories I have actually was when we first brought Jerry on, and we were developing like the specific rounds that he wanted and the things that he desired. We brought him out here to our sales office in Las Vegas, and we went out and had dinner one night, and I'm sitting across the table from Jerry, just listening to him tell stories about him growing up and how he got into shooting and all this stuff. And that was another moment where I was like, how did my life lead me here? This is crazy. I'm sitting here with, the freaking Superman of shooting, and we're just having a normal conversation like, 2 dudes that like guns. Yeah, he's really good people. The whole family is great, and we're really, really honored to have them represent us. When we select the people that we sponsor, the character part of it is big. Of course, you want, like Jerry's name is Jerry's name, right? Just the character and the way he represents himself and the companies that he represents is pretty incredible. And that's a big thing for us. Another one is Lanny Barnes. We sponsor Lanny, and she's just awesome. Did you get to meet her at the NRA show?
No, I didn't meet her.
At the booth? Oh, okay. Yeah, she's really cool too. Another great ambassador for us.
Yeah, I know everybody that I spoke to over there at the booth. I had pretty good conversations, but the one guy who you told me was a sales representative, I thought he was a bodyguard, the big guy.
Oh, Sam, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh my goodness, man, this guy right here, he gonna choke slam somebody here in a little bit.
Yeah, Sam better just stay calm. I have to teach him a lesson. Yeah, I don't know where that guy buys his hats. I think he buys his hat at like the parachute store. He's so big. That's another one. Diana Moeller and Ryan. They're also great people. Former Leos, they're also really cool, really great people.
Okay.
When you first started doing competition shooting, you were doing what did you say you're doing? ISP?
Yeah, my first one was USPSA.
Oh, USPSA. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The way it went for me was I was training with Homeland Security when I was stationed at Fort Benning down in Georgia. When I went through the Homeland Security training, one of the instructors was like explaining the story of one of the guys who was shooting. His name was Bill Rogers, and he started like Safariland, but he used to work for the FBI. And of course, when they was doing IPSC back in the 80s and everything, it was a special forces guy that came down and went through it, figured like, hey, I'm special forces, I can knock anybody out the box when it comes to shooting. But when he started doing the competition, everybody else was blowing him out the water. So, the military hired Bill Rogers to teach what he teaches, and they had him on lockdown for 20 years, and it just let up a couple years ago. So he used that same format and took everybody to a competition shoot to show like, okay, this is how you're going to perform under stress if this was a real life situation. it blew everybody out the water. But at the same time, it caught me because I'm like, I'm not gonna let this game beat me. So of course, every week I started going out there, started like dry firing every night and everything, and got really good with it. And then it got to the point whereas whenever I would go someplace, I would plan it around if it was a competition. So like if I was going to Texas, I would specifically look for a competition, whether it was IDPA or USPSA. So I went to Virginia, the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So I would always travel around because, like if you keep going to the, like, it's just like if you go to the same gym every day and you do jujitsu, you're not really picking up new techniques. You're just picking up how to beat somebody because you know how their game is.
Yeah, you start kind of being predictable and predicting your training partner's movements and stuff. And the people that set up the matches, they have the things that they do well and the things they like to do and all that. What I found when I did pistol competitions, as long as you, or for me at least, as long as I realized what I was doing and I wasn't trying to game it and win, it was really good practice for me. As long as I stuck to the fundamentals of what I do and all that stuff, I found that was a good way to practice and to add some intensity to things.
Oh yeah, and like I said, I just love the stress factor. But the only thing I didn't like about IDPA was they would gig you on a lot of stuff, and it was all the perspective of the person that was the RO at that time.
Oh yeah,
that was the only turn off to me. So now, from what I understand, they changed the rules in IDPA a lot to make it a little bit more enjoyable. Whereas you're not doing that whole political fight of, hey, I was behind the barrier, or I dropped the magazine and had a round in it, without gigging for points. So, but I haven't shot an IDPA match in about 3 years. So I said I was going to try one here in the next month or two. But USPSA is what I really do enjoy because I felt like it was more challenging.
Nice.
Just tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. All right.
All right.
You don't have to explain anything. So it's going to be a series of questions.
How PG is this podcast?
All right. So here we go. Gun control.
Stop it.
Smith & Wesson or Glock?
Glock.
USPSA, IDPA, or 3-gun?
IDPA.
Favorite celebrity instructor?
James Yeager.
Okay. 115 grain, 9mm, or 124 grain, 9mm?
124. Favorite instructor thing is tough, man. James, like I said, James is my friend. Like me and him are pretty tight. And, we text and talk real regularly. The thing that made it hard on that is I've always looked up to Clint so much, Clint Smith. And after getting to meet him and everything, and like I have this is going to sound almost insulting, but it's like, man, I wish that guy was my grandpa. You know what I mean? Like I wish I had that guy around when I was growing up. My grandpa's awesome, but Clint's on another level of awesome.
Yeah, that's a different level of knowledge right there also.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and close this out. If people want to follow Fiocchi or contact you, how can they do so?
So for Fiocchi, everything is at Fiocchi Ammunition, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter's Fiocchi Ammo, but if you just search it, you'll find it. On social for me, if you look up Standing on Second with the number 2 in it, so Standing on 2 ND basically, that's how you can contact me directly if you guys want to follow the shenanigans of my life. That's where you can do it.
All right. So thanks again. Meeting more good people in the firearm industry who are about putting out quality products with the everyday people in the equation. If you haven't done so, go purchase a box of Fiocchi ammunition and give it a try and tell me your thoughts of it. For those who are looking to contact me, visit blackmanwiththegun.com and under the About tab, click on my name, Michael Woodland, and shoot me an email or a phone call. Please leave a voicemail or a text message, and I promise I will get back to you. Until next week, keep shooting, keep practicing, and have fun. Back to you, Ken.
Well, you listened to Mike and I talk about the shotgun and his interview with Buell from Fiocchi. If you got any questions or comments about this episode, feel free to leave the notes at blackmanwithagun.com or catch us on social media. We're on Facebook. There's 2 communities that you can find for Black Man with a Gun podcast and the Black Man with a Gun community. What you got, man, going on rest of the week?
Only thing I have going on is the promotion of the GoFundMe projects that I have with getting the 3 sheriffs into jiu-jitsu training free for a year and getting some 22 pistols so I can start up this summer youth camp next year, and also getting the word out for people to get out and vote.
All right, so let's get into that right quick.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to contribute, go to GoFundMe.com/M-W Tactical all together and donate what you can and help us out. So right now, my goal was to have $3,000 by August 1st so we could put the 3 sheriffs into the jiu-jitsu training starting August. But we didn't meet that deadline. Right. So right now, I think we had something like $1,700, collected. So what we ended up doing was we put 1 sheriff through, and then we put another goal for the August 15th to try to raise the other $2,000 to make it all happen. So now, because I wanted to have all 3 of them training together so they can talk to each other and, talk about, okay, what they can do with work and, just bounce ideas off and, of course, bring them into the whole community of our gym. But it didn't happen. So now I'm asking everybody again to help us get there. So if you have $5, that's the minimum you can donate. Please go to GoFundMe.com/M-W Tactical and let's make some positive changes, happen within the community. Right. Starting with that. And then, of course, you got to back it up with the vote, because I've been hearing a lot of people complain about laws and what's going on in the community. But bottom line is, if you don't go out there and vote, what are you really doing? So let's make some changes and let's teach the next generation coming up what it takes, for these changes to take effect, so their children are not going to be affected by, erroneous BS that's going on.
All right, man. Thanks for that.
All right. This is the end of episode number 578. Thank you again for listening and supporting me. A lot's gone on in the last 12 years since I started this podcast. And I am learning still some new things and trying to help the cause still. Trying to get out of my own way still. Trying to promote other people. I got a handful of products to review that I want to share with you. You'll find those on blackmanwithagun.com. Don't forget that there is a book by that name still on Amazon. If you haven't got your copy, get one today. Don't forget, if you need me for anything, you can reach me online or my phone number. I'm here for you. Thomas Jefferson said that honesty is the first chapter in the book of wisdom. Until next time, just in case nobody has told you this today, I love you. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. Shalom, baby.